Canadian popular history. All this he had to go through just to get to the point, of checking all these tribes for all these treaties, being born in Ohio at a time when the far-flung Shawnees were reuniting in their Ohio country homeland during his childhood. The Shawnees lost territory to the expanding American colonies in a series of border conflicts. Tecumseh's father was killed in a battle against American colonists in 1774. Tecumseh was therefore mentored by his older brother, Chesekau, noted war chief who died fighting in 1792. So what can he do? His dad died fighting. His brothers died fighting. Well, what you think Tech's gonna do? You think he's just over there just kicking it with the British and yada yada? Man, you over here slipping. We ain't seen this type of energy, man, since Tupac, man. And for real, I mean, that's the kind of energy Tecumseh's bringing. That's why they had to shut that down. He's talking about uniting the jails and uniting all Nagas under, thug life, man. That's Tecumseh, man. I'm talking about Tupac attack, man. Tecumseh joined Shawnee Chief Blue Jackets' armed struggle against further American encroachment. So he started rocking with Blue Jacket. Or Way Pierre Sinwa. Yeah, war chief for the Shawnee. Preeminent Indian leader in the Northwest Indian War. So he was leading the Northwest Indian War.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to figure out how I had come.
That's all we talking about, right? Right?
No wonder I couldn't hear it.
Whoa. And this is primarily popping off after their Treaty of Paris situation and Fort Finney situation where they're giving up damn near all of Ohio, right? Their homeland. They said, nah, we ain't gonna do this no more. And then they did it again in 1809, gave away 30 million acres of land. Tecumseh said, we ain't gonna do this no more. We're going to war for this. We ain't giving up no more land. Now Naga try to buy land. Why you buying land? I don't get it. You don't understand any of these wars, man. But my real Nagas, you know what I'm saying? They understand a Naga, what it means to put our Nagafield flag up, man. We represent for the Shikamaw. For all the indigenous Nagas today, whether you a descendant of this side or that side, whether you a descendant of the Chickasaw or the Shawnee or the Choctaw or the Delaware, or Naga, we in this together. And I think maybe they didn't see clear that the war couldn't have been avoided. They had the tribe up there, or they leave it to you today, right? If they would have known what they were leaving to you today, I guarantee Tecumseh would have had much more support, man. But today we have a chance to make a difference. And us digging on this is not to point the finger or put the blame on no tribes, but to say that we got to tribe up. And our mission to tribe up is the same as Joseph Brant, the three councils, Tecumseh, and of course, what we're talking about here, the intertribal, tribe up, unity under Blue Jacket. So Tecumseh joined Blue Jacket against the hijack. July was getting what ended in defeat at the Battle of Fallen Timbers in 1794. defeated is, you see that there is a demarcation, and then it's suddenly no major war, and suddenly this. So this whole roundup, all this stuff was brewing just to pop back up with the Tecumseh War. From that point, we on and popping. On and popping, my nigga, when were you a slave? They say slaves were brought here to 1600s, my nigga. And what was the slave doing during all this war? You thought it was just some white people war? American Revolutionary War, white British, white, American Anglos. The whole entire war, whatever war they call it, Philippine War, Mexico War, all this is still you. Banana wars, even the Vietnam. My dad was in Vietnam. He was a musician. He had to play taps. Every time his, homie died or someone died, he was playing that horn. He played it so well, they kept him off the, front lines of battle just so he can play his horn. His horn saved his life. And without his trumpet, I probably wouldn't be here today. My father was put in Vietnam by his mother. This is how crazy my family is, man. My grandma signed my dad to war. She didn't want him playing his jazz music. He couldn't play jazz in the church. My dad was supposed to go to the Olympics as a hurdler or long jump, doing track and field. He had to go to Vietnam because his mama said so. This is how they done her mind bone. It wasn't her fault. It's just how she was brought up. Poison in the mind. This is what led up to the poison. All this. 60 seconds left. When were you a slave, my nugget? This is the press out. To the Battle of Fallen Timbers. A lot of niggas fell. The final battle in the Northwestern Indian War, struggle between Native American tribes affiliated with the Western Confederacy and their British allies. They are confederate against you, right? Psalms 83. And with the loss of most of Ohio, then there's the Treaty of Greenville. So we're going to look at these treaties a little closer. Formerly titled Treaty with the Wyandots. 1795 treaty between the United States and indigenous nations of Northwest Territory, including the Wyandots and the Delaware. Here come the Delaware back in the equation. They've been making treaty. It was assigned of Fort Greenville, now Greenville, Ohio, on August 3rd, 1795. Let me back it up. So this treaty defined the boundary between the indigenous people's lands and the territory for European American communities settlement. They just wanted to settle. Invade. It was signed at Fort Greenville, now Greenville, Ohio, August 3rd, 1795, following the Native American loss at the Battle of Fallen Timbers. A year earlier, ended with the Northwest Indian War, and the Ohio country limited Indian country to Northwest Ohio and began the practice of annual payments following the land concessions. Damn. Here come the taxes. Here come the taxes. The parties to the treaty were a coalition of Native American tribes known as the Western Confederacy. The United States government presented by General Anthony Wayne. It's got to do with the Treaty Fort Wayne, man.
Yeah, you got two
And
battles.
local frontiersmen. Treaties. 1805, Tecumseh's younger brother, Tenskwatawa, who came to be known as the Shawnee Prophet, founded a religious movement. Oh, he's talking about keeping the code. That called upon Native Americans to reject European influences and return to a more traditional lifestyle. He didn't want them Indian schools. 1808, Tecumseh and Tenskwatawa established Prophetstown, a village in present-day Indiana that grew into a large multi-tribal community. Nothing we doing is new. Driving up ain't new. It's just a matter of us coming together with one consent, man. We ain't gotta talk reckless. We ain't gotta be reckless. We can say, hey, let's keep the code of Hawaii. And in that code, you're gonna see the magic shift in your favor, man. You're gonna see the spells get broken because you listening again. You hearkening to Hawaii. You putting the Creator first. And with that, you can make your battle cry because you got Hawaii fighting with you, and can't no one stand up. Can't no one stand up to the Creator. Without our Creator, we die like men. With our Creator, we rise like gods. Tecumseh traveled constantly, speaking the prophet's message and eclipsing his brother in prominence. Tecumseh proclaimed that Native Americans owned their lands in common and urged tribes not to cede more territory unless all agree. His message alarmed American leaders, of course, right? He's talking unity, as well as Native leaders who sought accommodation with the United States. We're going to talk some more of this push mataha and these accommodations. And again, ain't about, hurting nobody's feelings about it. It's just like I and we can understand how any tribal leader or chief has to protect his tribe. But we can now also see with wisdom the errors of our ancestors' ways. Can't defend this shit no more. You can say, yeah, give up all our land. That's going to make our people live, right? No, it's going to be a slow death. They're going to lose their identity. Oh, let's sign these treaties and let's pretend, that we have nothing to do with it. But Hawaii knows, and you're gonna get that work based on what you've done to the children of Asherah, the children of Israel. You're gonna get that work. It's just what it is. We had to get this work. We had to get our work. You're gonna have to get your work. We can't save you. We're not your savior, but you can save yourselves. Code up. Try. Put yourself in the best position to answer to Hawaii. You know what I'm saying? That's all you got. One shot to put yourselves in the best position because you've been accommodating the United States corporation. It's time for you to accommodate the code. That's your only solution. Your only hope. In 1811, when Tecumseh was in the South recruiting allies, Americans under William Henry Harris defeated Tenskwatawa at the Battle of Tippecanoe and destroyed Prophetstown. So last time we got that Tecumseh was away, gathering the tribe, rallying the tribes, and that's when they attacked Prophetstown. When Tecumseh was away, divide and conquer. In the War of 1812, Tecumseh joined his cause with the British, recruited warriors, and helped capture Detroit in August 1812. The following year, he led an unsuccessful campaign against the United States in Ohio and Indiana. And again, just for clarity purposes, we're about to get this document, that's really anti-Tecumseh. They try to be like, oh, well, what war has he won? Yada, yada. Well, clearly he put his influence up at, not only tribed up who he could tribe up, because again, if everybody ain't tribing up, you can't get mad at Tecumseh for not ultimately winning the war. You can't point the finger, well, what war has he won? What war did you help him with? And he should have been fighting as hard as he had to fight. If you didn't tribe up, if the other confederacies didn't tribe up with the devil, right? The adversary, when U.S. naval forces took control of Lake Erie in 1813, Tecumseh reluctantly retreated with the British into Upper Canada, and this is when he fought his last battle, the Battle of Thames, on October 5th, 1813, in which Tecumseh was killed. And the loss of the powerful Tecumseh caused the collapse of, much of the work. His brother had been killed in the Battle of Tippecanoe. He lost his other brother. He lost his father, He was killed. I mean, that was the hardball, you know what I'm saying? The Siege of Detroit was also known as the Surrender of Detroit or the Battle of Fort Detroit. Early engagement in the British-U.S. War of 1812, a British force under Major General Isaac Brock with Native American allies under Shawnee leader Tecumseh used bluff and deception to intimidate. All right, so yeah, they popped off. So it appears that he did help, win whatever skirmish that was. But the final battle is 500 Nagas versus 5,000. Man, what do you want from the big bro Tecumseh? It could have been 5,000 on 5,000 if it wasn't for these treaties, which is why we gotta do this, because we lost Nagas, man, because of this. So I'm not going hard enough on these, treacherous, treacherous brothers, treacherous, family that went against the unity. I'm not going hard enough. Y'all getting off easy, but you ain't gonna get off. I'm here to tell you, you ain't gonna get away from this. You feel this in your heart bone. The script says when we wake up and see what happens, it's gonna be weeping. It's gonna be mourning. You feel it already. We had to bring it to the 1800s. Because in chronology, they pushed time back 1,800 years. So the Tecumseh War, imagine if they pushed that back 1,800 years and you're reading about it in history at year one. you're at year one. But it happened in 1813. You're in the 200s, 300s, and, talking about a king or a prophet or, a chief or whatever. You're not knowing that this took place in 1800s. I know it. Even when I tell you, you're still going to be like, nah, that was in the BCs. Why? Because they say so. They added 1,800 years in some instances to your timeline. 1,000 years, 300 years, whatever. Time shifts. The lands he fought to defend were eventually given to the U.S. So all that death for nothing. He went all or nothing, man. Balls to the wall. Either we win or we lose everything. Either way, we're going to lose it all. If we don't fight, we're going to lose it all for sure. Or we're going to leave it to our children in 2022 to try to figure this out. He said, I'm going to make my stand here. I'm not going to wait for my great-great-great-great-great-great-grandchildren to put this together, to get these 500 Nagas together. We got 500 Nagas. We going up, man. Let's go. That's how we feel today. You want to wait and make the the issue be on your grandchildren and your children? When you know better today, you gotta hope that what you pass on to them, you know, in this metaverse is gonna stick, man. We have to make our rise. I believe we're doing it the right way by purifying ourselves so that our Creator can hear us again. Give us the wisdom, Ama Abba, to proceed. That won't cause unnecessary, unnatural death and demise of our people, but will bring life to our people. We don't know the battlefield like the Kumse knew it. We don't know life in the woods like the Shawnee knew it. Or perhaps we can know the code